Yasser Louati for more. Hi, Yasser. Thanks so much for being with us. I mean, first, walk us through what you actually think of the official response to this horrific incident.
Well, it's the head of the state, Emmanuel Macron, just using it for his political campaign, for his re-election in 2022, without asking the main questions. First, the massive intelligence failure, just regardless of mass surveillance being a day-to-day thing in France, despite the culprit having been reported multiple times, including by many Muslim or social media users. The government now is using this national tragedy to single out a community, so we divert scrutiny on his own failures. And this spells nothing good, not for the rule of law. For example, the Minister of Interior declared last morning, we've got nothing against the 51 people and organizations we raided. We are just sending a message to harass Islamists. So much for the rule of law and due process. And now they are attacking multiple Muslim NGOs in order to shut them down and again send a message that the enemy is the Muslim community, not a person that nobody knows anything about so far, that he carried his attack and millions of people are being held hostage. And the fact that a mosque is being shut down for the actions of their community organizer who shared the video, which, as I believe, was completely wrong and out of their scope of activities. Now the government wants to say mosques and Muslims in general are somehow related to a teacher being beheaded.
Okay. I mean, your argument could be valid, saying, this is being spun for political benefits, particularly on the behalf of Emmanuel Macron, as well as Marine Le Pen. But they will argue, and Macron, we're seeing more leaning to this argument, that there is some kind of fundamental incompatibility between conservative Muslims in France and secular France. What do you say to that? Do you believe that some sectors, perhaps, of the more conservative Islam is incompatible with French secularism?
Well, first, there are conservative segments of any segment of the population. We have conservative Jews, Catholics, conservative, people who have no religion whatsoever. Now, Emmanuel Macron, to quote him, in his last discourse on the so-called Islamic separatism, he explained that the current law on laïcité, the 1905 law that separates religion and the state, is not sufficient. So clearly, Emmanuel Macron has a problem himself with laïcité. As for the so-called rift, or maybe the antagonistic relationship between conservative Muslims and the state, the only thing I can suggest, how about you let Muslims manage their affairs, decide who can represent them, and then you can hold them accountable. But you cannot violate laïcité by setting up bogus organizations like the National Council of the Muslim Faith, set up by the Minister of Interior in violation of laïcité. You don't allow Muslims to have a platform to chair their leaders, and then you tell them, well, I'm going to organize Islam for you. It's a secular state. You can't have it both ways. And right now, what we are facing is that laïcité is being attacked by the French state and accusing Muslims of not being okay with laïcité. Muslims are only saying one thing: let us live and let us manage our own affairs. But just like in Algeria over a century ago, laïcité was applied on continental France, but not in the Muslim colonies, to keep Islam under control. And that's exactly what Emmanuel Macron is calling for.
Okay, Yasser Louati, we will have to leave it there. Thank you so much for being with us from Paris. We appreciate it.